Hello, everyone. Welcome back to A Common Touch of Fantasy. My name is Paul, and I'm doing a 2017 anticipation video. A lot of the books that people are talking about, I am really excited about, like the new Hurley book, the new Robinson book, the new Scalzi book, things like that. I'm excited for those. But I wanted to talk about a few other books that not many other people are talking about, and things that sound like I would be interested in them. The first one is A Man of Shadows by Jeff Noon. This is from Angry Robot, and this is a Fractured City noir type book that I really enjoy. So half of the city is in the light and the other half is in dark, and it's about a private detective called John Nyquist searching for a runaway, but there's a seemingly invisible serial killer on the loose as well. And I just like these fantasy new weird kind of noir books. They just really connect with me for some reason. I think it's because I like detective stories so much, and I'm looking forward to this. The next one is called Forever On. This is a novel about Silicon Valley, and this is about the hyper connected culture that we live in, the very tech saturated culture that we live in. It's about artificial intelligence, mass surveillance, terrorism, social media harassment, global pandemics, robots, pretty much anything that's going on in our world right now that we're obsessed with. This book is about that. And it's a satire, and I love satires because it can talk about really important things without making people upset. I'm looking forward to this from Del Rey Books. The next one I'm looking forward to is also from Del Rey. It's called Reincarnation Blues. This is an imaginative novel about a man that's reincarnated, and he's reincarnated 10,000 times. So he basically is immortal, but he wants to spend his life with his one true love, and his one true love is death, the incarnation of death. So every time he dies, he meets death and falls in love with her or it even more each time that they meet. But he's trying to figure out a way to spend his entire eternity with death. And I think that just sounds very interesting and a lot of fun. That's from Michael Poore, Reincarnation Blues from Del Rey Books. The next one is Tropic of Kansas by Christopher Brown. This is from Harper Voyager. And this is basically a dystopian in the U.S. where the middle of the country ends up being this wasteland, and we have two people trying to get through this area to a promised land, which is basically now New Orleans, down south. There's a lot of new politics, new technologies in this very odd United States. And I'm looking forward to this just because I think this could be a dystopian book that could be really good. Tropic of Kansas by Christopher Brown. The next one I'm interested in is The Ship by Antonia Honeywell. Right now, this hasn't gotten that great of reviews, but I still think this sounds interesting. This is from Orbit. It was first published in 2015, and now it's going to be published in 2017. And basically this is another dystopia. Things are awful on the outside, and people are killing each other for food. So these rich people decide to create this ship that they can put their loved ones on so that they can be safe, and they have everything they ever wanted, all the food they want, all of the clothes, everything that they want. But there's a really deeply hidden secret about this whole thing, and when everyone's a consumer on this ship, things start to break down because they don't have any providers. It's a very interesting idea, and hopefully it delivers. The next one is from Orbit as well. It's from R.J. Barker. It's called Age of Assassins. What interests me about this is that it's a fantasy book that I would really like. It's like classic fantasy, and it's all about assassins. But the thing of it is, we have a main character that has a bad leg. And I think that's just a cool idea, to put a disabled character into these assassin-like roles. They maybe can go into places that other characters couldn't, because people would assume that they're not an assassin, or not a bad person, or of any significance. And I just think that this was a very interesting tale, and it sounds very, very fresh in the classic fantasy setting that it is in. The next one that I want to read is Oboe by Steve Raznick-Tem. This is from Solaris, comes out in a couple months. And this is a blend of science fiction and horror, exploring the roots of violence and its effect on the possible future. I like these type of psychological focus on different emotions and the humanism of characters in these type of books. Daniel is trapped in Oboe. He has no idea how long he has been imprisoned there by the roaches. Ooh. So it focuses on the strange history of human violence, a meditation on the worst of us, but also a novel about the possibilities of the best we can do. And it just seems like a very interesting book. Each day they force Daniel to play a different figure from humanity's violent history, from a frenzied Jack Ripper to a stumbling and confused Stalin to a self-proclaimed god executing survivors atop the ruins of the world. The scenarios mutate day after day in this camp, somewhere beyond the rules of time. As skies burn and prisoners go mad, identities dissolve as the experiments evolve, and no one can foretell their mysterious end. It just sounds really interesting. Yeah, that's Oboe by Steve Raznick-Tem. The next one is Catherine M. Valente. It is a book of short stories. It's 6 short stories. It's called The Refrigerator Monologues. And this is about 6 female superheroes, or the girlfriends of those superheroes. And it just seems really interesting. It's an entirely new, original superhero universe. Valente subversively explores these ideas and themes in the superhero genre, treating them with same love, gravity, and humor as her fairy tales. They're talking about superheroes that are wives, that are girlfriends to other superheroes, female heroes, anyone that's ever been refrigerated. It's comic book women who are killed, raped, brainwashed, driven mad, disabled, or had their powers taken, so that male superhero storyline will progress. And I just think it's a really awesome idea to focus on what happens to the women in these superheroes' lives, and also specific superheroes that are female, how they deal with being female and also a superhero. It just sounds like a lot of fun, and Catherine M. Valente can definitely handle it. The next one is a really popular book a couple years ago, and last year. It's now getting a huge release from Titan, and that is Clade by James Bradley. Adam is in Antarctica, marking the passage of the solstice. Across the globe, his wife Ellie is watching for the results of her IVF treatment. So begins the story of one family in a changing world where the apocalypse mingles with the everyday. A father battles a biblical storm. An immigrant is mysteriously drawn to the art of beekeeping. A young girl's diary chronicles a pandemic, and a young man finds solace in building virtual recreations of the dead. I just think that this story could possibly be one of the best stories of the last few years. I've heard a lot about this from people that I really respect in the SFF community, and I'm so happy that it is getting a larger release from Titan Books. Look at all these literary awards that it was nominated for. They're all Australian awards, and I just think it sounds like an amazing book that I think people will love in this new year. The next one is Walkaway by Cory Doctorow. This is from Tor. Cory Doctorow's first adult novel in 8 years, an epic tale of revolution, love, post-scarcity, and the end of the world. After watching the breakdown of modern society, he really has nowhere left to be, except among the dredges of the disinfected youth who party all night and heap scorn on the sheep that are all seen on the morning commute. After falling in love with Natalie, an ultra-rich heiress trying to escape the clutches of her repressed father, the two decide to give up formally on formal society and walk away. After all, now that you can print basically all the necessities of life, food, shelter, clothing, from a computer, there seems really no reason to toil within the system. So, when everything is given to you, why should we keep doing the daily grind? And that's what it's talking about here. And I think that's a very interesting idea. And I think it's very interesting question going on as things become more and more automated in our society. How are we going to adjust to that? And I think this will be a very interesting book. This is fascinating, moving, and darkly humorous. Walkaway is a multi-generation SF thriller about the wrenching changes of the next 100 years and the very human people who will live through their consequences. That sounds amazing. Walkaway by Cory Doctorow. And yep, that's it. Those are the ones that I wanted to mention. I haven't been seeing many people talk about these, but I think all of these sound fantastic. There's kind of a theme going on here. It is bleak worlds, dystopias, and also some noir type books. And I think I'm attracted to all those type of books. So I wanted to talk about those a little bit. Thanks for watching. Please comment below if any of these sound interesting to you. And also, I will put a link to all the books that I'm talking about in the description box, so you can just go click on them. Also, I'll put a link to the Barnes & Noble 96 books of science fiction and fantasy that they put on their website recently, where I got all these books from. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys later.